Thank you. Mr. Speaker, Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the House and Senate, thank you for your warm welcome, and thank you all for the service to the people of our state whose hope for a safer Louisiana brings us to their capital. The ongoing debate and the day-to-day work we are deeply involved in here in this capital of improving our economy, of protecting our environment, and reforming our educational system, they all lose significance if our communities are not safe. As Attorney General, I warned that the goal of the criminal justice reform should not be about letting people out of jail. It should be about how to keep people from going to jail. And those warnings went unheeded. Last year, I promised the people of the state of Louisiana, if elected governor, I would do everything within my power to improve the safety of our communities through both legislative and executive action. Today, we continue that process. Now, everyone in this room is aware that crime has put a national spotlight on our great state. In 2021, Louisiana had the highest violent crime rate in the nation. In 2022, 3 of our cities were in the top 10 most dangerous cities in America. 280 people were murdered that year in New Orleans, earning that city the title of the murder capital of the country. Last year, more children were murdered in New Orleans than in any year in the past decade. In that year, in any year in the past decade. While these statistics are sobering, they can seemingly be just numbers or some passing news story. However, for the victims, it is life-altering. The effect of being a victim of crime does not end the day after. For most, the nightmare only just begins. While these victims carry the burden of loss, they are also thrown into the unknowns of a criminal justice system that has forgotten them. The proposals that we lay out today were constructed by listening to the voices of the people, by listening to those responsible for protecting us, for listening to those responsible for administering justice, and listening to those who matter most, the victims of crime. Today, I invite you to meet some of the faces of the crime statistics in Louisiana who are up in the balcony. Faces like Mr. and Mrs. Wayne Gazzardo, who are here today. Mr. Wayne, yeah, please stand, please. Mr. Gazzardo and his wife are here today on behalf of their daughter, Stephanie. In 1995, Stephanie was murdered along with her co-worker at Calendar's restaurant here in Baton Rouge. Stephanie pleaded for her life as Todd Wessinger pulled the trigger, robbing the Gazzardos of their beautiful daughter. They have lived with pain each day, with a promise of justice that goes unanswered. Now, our criminal justice system has lost its balance. The steps we take to restore that balance may be difficult to accept for some. However, when promises are made to a victim's family and friends, granting them that justice restores the balance. Our capital punishment law serves to bring justice for crimes of horrific violence. When these sentences are handed down, they form a covenant between the state and the victims and their families and their friends. And justice requires that we uphold that covenant. We propose legislation that would declare that any and all records of information pertaining to carrying out these sentences be strictly confidential and not subject to public disclosure. The legislation would make it a felony to violate that law and also allow the victims' families to recover damages.